Here's my Saito 45 Mark II, all disassembled, cleaned up, and ready to go. I've got, like I said, it's completely torn down, cleaned up, all ready to go. Look at the top of that piston. That's just beautiful. This engine was really in really good shape to begin with, but I figured I'd go ahead and tear it down and clean it up anyway. The bearings I was considering replacing, because they're probably the originals, they felt kind of stiff. But after taking them out and soaking them and then cleaning them, blowing them out, I figured what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and put them back in here. If I need to replace them at a later time, I will. But for now, they'll be okay. This crankcase is beautiful, and here's that nice little 45 placard that's glued on there. So this is kind of what the pieces look like. I'm going to get to putting this back together. One of the things I am going to do with this engine, though, is I have a Saito 45 S special, and what made that engine a special was that it had a different cam gear than the standard 45s. The lobes were shaped differently, resulting in a little bit different timing, a little higher power output. I also have a Saito 50 engine, so what I'm going to do is, from the research I have been able to find, is I was going to try and convert this into a Saito 45S just by changing the cam gear. So I went online and managed to find the cam gear for a 56. I also have a 50, so I've got the cam gear from a 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reassemble this engine as it is, put it on the bench, run it, get it set, take some RPM readings. Then I'm going to install the housing. There's several parts that need to be swapped out to actually make this happen. But I'm going to swap out the cam gear for the 50, the housing, push rods, cam followers are all different. Put it on this engine, run it again, check the settings or check the RPM readings, and then when the cam for the 56 arrives, I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to kind of see what happens here when I intermesh all these parts together and see maybe that cam gear for the 56 that I did I may keep, and I'll end up having to invest in housing and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's just kind of a fun experiment to do, so that's where I stand with that. Alright, so I'm going to install my front bearing first, and as I normally do, I keep this crankshaft up, or the crankcase up just a hair to kind of help facilitate bearing installation. Not sure if it's really necessary, but just a practice I always do. Front bearing installed. Now the rear bearing. Okay, so next thing I'm going to assemble is the cam gear into the timing cam gear housing. So I've got these two little Teflon pads that go on either side of this camshaft gear. So I'm going to put a little oil on that to hopefully help adhere, keep those things in place. This part can get kind of tedious if you haven't done it in a while or done it before, because you got these two pieces that really kind of have a mind of their own. Now I found the best way to do this is this thing has a set screw here, so I want to put it in, set screw this in first, going in from the set screw, so I think that might help. Oh shit, I had that one side, damn it. I had it and then I pulled it out. There we go, I got one side. Now I can just keep this aligned. And there we have it. Fairly sure I've got that slot lined up properly. We'll see. Seems to want to go in there. Alright, so that's aligned. A little bit of oil in here. Can never hurt. Now these tappets can go in last. I'm going to put the exhaust one in, but I'm not actually going to put the intake one in until after it's timed. Now this timing gear has a hole right here, and it just so happens that this screwdriver I've got is about 2.5 millimeters across here, so it fits nicely in this hole. And then I'm going to rotate it so that that hole is in line with this, and it holds it in place, and that's how you actually time this thing. Now all I got to do is drop this thing down on my crankcase with my crankshaft at top dead center, my crank pin at top dead center, and that's as simple as it is to time this engine. Put a little oil here on this to for this gasket to, I think that goes this way. Okay, so now what we've got is I'm going to put my crankshaft at top dead center. Already got this held in place. So with my crankshaft at top dead center, I'm just going to drop this in place. And throw a few screws in here, or at least one anyway, to hold it in place. And this Saito engine is now timed properly. And it's as simple as that. That's all there is to it. Top dead center. There we go. Okay, now that done, I can put my other cam follower in. And now we're ready to put the head on.